Owen. It's good. So what's up, Brian? What's up, man? You doing all right?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Doing good, dude. We were just talking about it, but I think it's been like I don't know, man. Like I mean, actually talking to you, I feel like it's been a long time, dude. Probably like at least 15 plus years, and
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
at
really happy
least,
that you're doing this, bro. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It was funny. I mean, I guess I've followed you. We've been friends on social media for forever,
Yeah, a long time. Yeah, yeah,
but like, I guess I've seen your presence more. I think you're trying to, get more of a social media presence online. So I think I've been seeing your posts a lot more the last 30, 60 days.
yeah,
I personally have been connecting with them and trying to engage with them myself. And then you just
yeah.
kind of reached out to me a couple days ago. We had a nice talk, and now we're here. So, man, I'm looking forward to diving into whatever you have on the agenda today.
Yeah, man. It's I mean, it's a fun fact, but you know what's so funny about you, bro? Like you have stapled in my dad's mind. Like he'll never forget you because he's old. He's like an old guy, and like he doesn't have like Alzheimer's or anything. But let's just say like he did. That home run that you hit on me will forever stay stamped in his brain forever. And it doesn't matter
I,
how many times I struck you out. It doesn't matter how many like it doesn't matter how many times you just like whatever. Like that one hit will forever be in my dad's. Like you're like in his mind like Barry Bond. Like you're like the guy that like just launched one. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And everyone's like, I don't know how far that ball was, but that's definitely the farthest ball anybody's ever hit off you. And I'm like, I know. It was a launch for sure.
I also, I mean, kind of burned in my mind. I didn't know what to think of it at the time. I mean, I was so competitive back then, and I
Dude,
still
you were,
low
bro. You
key
were
am.
you were very, very competitive back then.
Yeah, and
I
it was
remember a
almost.
game we were playing. Go ahead, my bad.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I remember one game you were playing, and I don't know who I was. I was playing with like DJ Hicks and those guys. I forgot what team it was, but I want to say like you like ran them over, like running around the
Yeah.
bases or something
Well,
happened, and that's
so
Brian. Like that's
I
Brian all
think that
day.
would that would have had to been at Altamont, and DJ still, when I haven't talked to DJ in probably just right before the pandemic. I think 2018, 2019, but he still talks about that to this day, that he thinks I
Yeah,
purposely elbowed him in the mouth because what happened was is I was taking off the steal, and obviously he plays first base, and he was standing behind me, and he creeped up on me to try to pick me off, and I took off anyway. So when I turned, I elbowed him in the face, and mind you, DJ's 6'5", 6'6", so
yeah,
I blame him more for being down there. But I was like, dude, I didn't even know you were there. Like, I was so locked in
yeah.
on trying to get a good jump. So yeah, that's what and that was at Altamont when we were like 13 years old.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. All those years kind of blend, but I don't think people realize that you were big, but you were also fast. I don't
Yeah,
think people like understood that like you weren't like typically if you're big you're like slow, but you were like still a big guy, but you were also like pretty quick.
yeah.
And
I tried to use that to my advantage, especially like I was playing an unfamiliar opponent. Like if they walk me or I just get a base hit, I just try to be very unassuming, and I would take off on the first pitch because they wouldn't expect it, and my success rate on
yeah,
steals was so good, especially against brand new teams.
yeah, that's awesome, man. That's cool, man. Yeah, no, you were definitely a powerhouse back then. I definitely respect you. And I think we played each other in high school, and I pitched that one game against you guys, and that's kind of the game that I got a little bit of notoriety into before I got injured. I think that game I pitched, we didn't have anybody else. Like I was like the only
Yeah,
guy, and I pitched like I think like 14 innings or something.
yeah,
It was
that was
over
gnarly.
it was over two separate days,
Hmm.
and I was so mad that our team just couldn't score. Like we were so bad at hitting.
Yeah,
I can only hold them down. Like we gotta get some runs or something. Like I don't know
yeah.
what's going on right now. Is Rashid and Rashad are they family with you? Isn't that aren't they like
No,
they're
they're
not are
they're
they?
they're not family, but they were like they're not like blood family, but they were. I basically grew up with them because I played on their dad's little league team from age
I gotcha. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like 9 to 12, and I was over their house just as much as I was at my own house.
Okay, yeah, because I was surprised that they knew you, and I was like, Brian, and they're like, yeah, and I was like, oh, okay. So I thought, I
Yeah,
mean, because like,
the
yeah,
amount of
I played this first.
pizza I ate at their house and the amount of times we played pickup basketball is pretty insane.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Rasheed was surprised. Like he was, for like he wasn't a big guy, but he could like hit it pretty far. I was always surprised at like
Yeah.
how far he could hit, like for his size or whatever. But that's cool, man. But yeah, dude. So I'm reaching out to you, man, because I've been watching you for a long time. You've always been consistent with like lifting, and you've always seemed to, I don't know, just be consistent, and you've definitely gotten bigger over the years. And you're probably one of the strongest people that I know. Just thinking in general, just when it comes to like just brute strength and just form and all that stuff. I mean, I think I saw a video yesterday, the other day. Your bench press 4 plates on each side, which was pretty
Yeah.
wild. So I mean, kind of, I guess just tell me about like your progression and what is your goal? Just overall health and overall strength, or when you were younger, did you have kind of delve into your mindset a little bit as far as like how you went into all that?
So I guess initially, I mean, I started lifting in high school specifically for like baseball and softball with the team, and then my
Yeah,
high school coach, Coach Gerke, when I was like, he was like, "Dude, if you want to have a chance to play on varsity, like you're like I want to see you lift." And it wasn't so much about lifting. He just wanted to see like the kind of work ethic I was willing to put in because making varsity on that loaded team that had like literally had a couple big leaguers on it, and a lot of D1 guys. He knew I had the talent, but he didn't know if I had the work ethic and drive to, you know,
yeah,
try to earn the spot. And I think that's, I mean, I was really competitive before then, but that was the first time I saw like, hey, like you have to go and earn a spot in stripes. Because up to that point, if you're if you're somebody who's going to play in college, more times than not, you kind of like dominate in like little league and middle school, and then you get to high school, guys are 3 or 4 years older than you. That's when there's a little bit of shift in competitiveness and skill set, and then. But I guess things really culminated. I started lifting full time my sophomore year of college because
yeah,
I had a scouting report done on me. I thought I was going to I did get drafted out of high school, but I broke my hand halfway through the season, my senior year. That kind of threw my draft stock off. And then after my freshman year of junior college, I thought I was going to get drafted, and I didn't end up getting drafted. And I had a scouting report saying, good athlete, good bat, good maturity, but he's barrel chested. And I was like, I'm not barrel chested. Granted, I was the heaviest I had ever been in my entire life, but I used to wear like really baggy jerseys back my freshman year, and I think it just looked the optics of it looked bad because I thought it was Manny Ramirez back then, and so that summer I got with my strength and conditioning coach, and I think I dropped like 20, 22 pounds. I shaved like
hmm,
zero point 0.2 seconds off my 60. I went from like a 6'7" to a 6'5", 60. And that was the first time I was like, I started lifting year round. And it was still all for strength and performance. It was not for any aesthetic or necessarily any health reasons back then. But of course, my goal back then was to try to become a professional baseball player. And then when I transferred up to Tennessee to go to college, that's when like the 4 to 5 times a week lifting really started. And that's also when, even though I had lost the weight after my sophomore year, that was really just kind of like cutting out sodas and cookies. But it was really
yeah,
like my junior year when I started gaining some knowledge on like proper nutrition and like
yeah,
really being a lot more conscious of my eating. And it's not like, you're talking 2000 2010, 2011. So like YouTube is out, but there's not all the information out on the internet like it is now back then. So I had to actually like read nutrition books and actually like take some coursework on like proper nutrition when I was in college to like kind of gain that knowledge. And I kind of fell in love with training beyond just for the performance side of it and more for the mental fortitude side of it, and then even kind of the aesthetic side of it. And the aesthetic side of it was still more. I wanted a leaner physique because I knew it would be just better for me as an athlete going forward. Big, especially because I was already kind of a bigger guy, and you're only going to get bigger as you kind of get to your mid to late 20s as an athlete, especially being a
yeah,
baseball player. So it was my senior year when I did a strength conditioning internship in Jackson, Tennessee. And that, because I was actually studying English in college, and that was when I decided, or I kind of knew that I wanted to be a strength coach, a personal trainer, health wellness consultant, blah, blah, like something in that realm. And that's when the
Yeah.
switch really flipped. And then as soon as I got done with college in 2012, that's when I started kind of the lifestyle journey of like year round conscious eating, year round eating, lifting, and just like starting to build that self discipline. And so that was 2012, and we're just starting 2026 now. So that's what 14 consistent years of lifting 4 to 5 days a week. I think since 2012, I think I've taken five, maybe six total weeks off from the gym. And
Yeah.
four of
That's wild.
those were from like a minor injury, and then two of those were just like I need a complete break. I think one of those times was like a mental thing. Another time it was just I just needed a physical break from the lifting. Other than that, man, I've been in the gym at least 3 days a week, all those weeks for 14 years.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. That's really good. And that's just kind of been in you, or would you say that's been kind of your environment? You surround yourself with people like that, or like why? How are you so consistent?
I don't necessarily surround myself with people like that. I think it is just something that's just more in me. I think
Yeah.
it was the evolution of like coming off like being an athlete my whole life and playing five, six sports, and even being in a band. Even I'm older, I still feel like I have a lot of energy that I need to get off. Like I'm not somebody who can like sit at a desk for 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus hours and just knock out and crunch out work. I can do it and I have to do it. Like I'm working in law
Yeah.
enforcement now, and I have to do reports, and and then they're trying to teach me how to do report writing. So, I've been spending, and I'll spend 2 or 3 day shift now doing like 4 or 5 hours, doing the other officers' reports for them, which is a great learning experience. And so I can do it, but it's just not something, it's uncomfortable in general. I'd rather much be up, moving, burning energy in some capacity. And so I've chosen to do that through, lifting, personal training, personal development, and really like my why behind it was I initially wanted to be able to help my own personal family who, I had a long family history of, heart disease and high blood pressure and multiple family members with diabetes. So I wanted to equip myself to be able to help them, and I have in different capacities over the years. And then that turned into me wanting to help, just people in the general public who needed help. And in my first I think the first 35, 40 people I helped, I didn't charge. I was training them for free, whether it was in person or writing them a personal training
Mhm.
plan or a diet plan. And I didn't start charging people, even before I became a personal trainer, I didn't start charging people until I realized there was enough people wasting my time. And, if I'm going to put 2, 3 hours into building a plan for you, which that's how long it took back then, doesn't take that much time now, and like you aren't going to follow through on it whatsoever, it was at that time that I was kind of also, instructed and guided on a business side, like, hey man, you have to make people invest in themselves and, make sure you're compensated for, the guidance and help that you're giving them.
I gotcha. No, that's cool, man. Yeah, because you've. I mean, would you say right now you're the strongest that you've been?
No, I think technically my peak strength would have been like fall of 2019. I was powerlifting at the time. So you have powerlifting. You have the squat, bench, and deadlift, and you have 3 attempts at all three lifts in a meet, and whichever is the highest number for each lift counts towards your total. So that was the first and only time I've totaled 2,000 pounds in a meet with like a 90 something bench, like a 795 squat, and like a 730 deadlift. So that was probably like my actual physically strongest year. But I also, I've competed in bodybuilding, and that's probably more my driving force. I've kind of wavered, through the years with like my own personal discipline on the nutrition side. I'm always been very consistent of eating 4, 5, 6 meals a day. But sometimes that meal is eating out at a fast food place like Chick-fil-A or Chipotle or Moe's, even if it's something a little bit healthier. Then of course I'm more of a sweets guy. So,
Yeah.
that I've had some years where I've dealt in, had too many cookies in a week or, this, that, and the other. But in general, I've had great blood work. I think I've only had bad blood work one time, and that was in 2017. That was coming off a really challenging time in my life at that time in 26. But other than that, man, I've had good health markers, good blood work, for my entire adult life, which I've been, thankful for. But that's kind of been the core premise of how I operate. Just now, it's part of who I am, and it's part of my identity. It's not my sole identity, but
Yeah.
working out for me is like drinking coffee in the morning for a lot of people.
Yeah. I got you. So you're saying it's kind of like an identity thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean that's I think what I'm learning is kind of like who you believe you are is kind of like a big deal when it comes to like kind of
Yeah.
like how you live your life and how you know and so and you can even push it to the point where it's who you want to be. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
what I've learned is if you want to be a strong guy or if you want to have a good business or whatever, you have to. It does start with you kind of putting that on and being, hey, I'm gonna do this kind of thing. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And this is who I am kind of thing. You know.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, because it starts. I mean, one of the things I'm learning is like your mind is so strong. You know.
Yeah. Well, a great example of that, man. I know some like in the sport of bodybuilding. I know some people who have great. You have to have great genetics, just like you have to have a certain level of athleticism to be a high school, college, or professional athlete. Even if
Yeah.
you want to be a pro baseball player, if you can't, if you're right-handed and you can't throw 90 plus miles per hour coming out of college, then the likelihood of you making it is probably going to be slim to none. Because you're only going to
Yeah.
regress, once you hit your athletic peak. So, bodybuilding takes a certain level of genetics where you do it naturally or enhanced. But man, I know like some pro bodybuilders who could be very successful, but how they self-talk, they talk themselves out of situations before they're even into them. So of course, when they walk into it, and you could tell, or at least I can tell, like they're doing that because they're setting themselves up for that failure or rejection, so it doesn't hit as hard.
Yeah.
Especially because a lot of them do put in the necessary work to get there, but they'll have a great prep for 12, 14, 16, 20 weeks, and the week before the show, they start saying, well, you know if you know this is probably going to happen, this is probably going to happen, so, and this judge is going to be there, so I'm probably not even going to do that well, so if I finish in the top 15 it'll be a win, and then they end up finishing 16th and they end up being equally disappointed. And I firmly believe their thought process and self-belief could have been the determining factor, even independent of how the other competitors actually showed up to the competition themselves. Because I mean, it's no different from any other sport. Man, if you're on deck and you're looking at the guy, throwing cheese on the mound, whether he's a righty or lefty, and you're thinking, man, I don't like the way the ball comes out of his hand. His windup is funky. It's really hot today, and I forgot my water in the car. Like you're gonna walk up there,
Yeah.
you're gonna strike out or fail before you even step in the batter's box. So you're right on the mark that who you believe you are and your mindset and your how you talk to yourself weekly, daily, really more even moment to moment, really more so dictates how things will actually turn out, what your reality will actually be, more than your talent or your work ethic or the preparation that you actually put in to put yourself in that position in the first place.
Yeah. No, that's and so I'm delving into the coaching world now after being a business owner for like 6 years, and I worked for this company for like a total of 12 years. But I'm in a coaching school, and it's a really good school. It's super high level, but their whole thing is that if you're going to show up as a coach, you've got to be in a great mindset, like you like daily. regardless of what's going on, you have to be able to like get yourself out of your circumstance and kind of like oversee the whole situation and kind of navigate, because you're helping people that might be stuck, or you're helping people that might not necessarily believe in themselves. And so you have to be good at kind of reframing life situations and kind of using that as fuel to get you to the next spot, you know? And I know with lifting, this is one of the things I love about it, but it's like you can put your body through so much hard tenacity stuff, and you like it's painful sometimes. It's like you don't want to, like you're almost in agony sometimes. And it's like we'll put ourselves through that in the gym, but then for some reason when we hit our life, that same tenacity is different. It's like quit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, man, if you could just have that same process in your life that you do in the gym, transfer into real life and understand that like some of these harder moments in life are going to make you stronger, and you can kind of receive that. I've looked at that lately with a lot of things, and it's just like, so now every hard opportunity is just an opportunity for me to like, maybe get a little deeper, grow a little bit bigger. You know what I'm saying? And it's exciting, man, because now it's like, whatever comes my way, I'm looking at it from a growth standpoint versus, hey, I don't know if I can overcome this, versus, oh, I get to overcome it. It might take me some
Yeah.
time, but I get to.
Hmm.
Versus, oh
Yeah.
no, this is going to be the thing that might take me out per se. You know what I'm saying? So, and everything in the gym world, it pertains to the same thing. You're gonna do different workouts. You're gonna, you gotta hit your nutrition. You've got to have a game plan, right? You might have a workout schedule, or whatever you want to call it. But if we can take the same parameters from our gym life to our real life, you're only going to get bigger, stronger. It's just it's everything is just positive.
Yeah. I mean, you're right on the mark because, gosh, it's been 5 weeks now. Five weeks. Yeah, 5 weeks today actually. I had a talk with one of my former clients who is a pastor, and he's like he works for FedEx, and he's on the executive level, and there's only you know, three people above him in the entire company. So he's
Yeah,
well up there and very successful. His wife is a general manager of a major hospital here. Three kids. They're all, decorated in college and often great careers. So he's somebody who I really respect and look up to. And something he challenged me on, because I went to him for some counseling 5 weeks ago today, and he was like, "Man," and obviously he's known me since 2017, 2018 as well. So he's like, man,
yeah,
obviously I see your discipline and your nutrition, and even if you have off days or off seasons, like your body, and your mindset. Anybody who talks to you, they could see the level of work and tenacity and passion you've put into your craft. And he was like, but what if you took all of that you've done in your health, bodybuilding, powerlifting journey, what would that look like if you put that same work into your spiritual life and your personal life? Like
100%.
how
Yeah,
much further would you be along? But actually, he didn't say how much further would you. He said how much further would you grow in your life overall if you put that same
yeah,
discipline and tenacity and consistency into your spiritual and personal life. And man,
yeah,
it
no,
kind of just hit
100%.
me over the head like a hammer. And I mean, he was 100% right, and I didn't feel defensive or anything about it because I was like, man, you're right. And so that's the personal journey I've been on the last 5 weeks of not taking away from what I'm doing in the gym and in my personal life, but adding to that, like getting my spiritual alignment and personal life, and I call it now, like I've been telling my godmother, putting systems in place in every aspect of my life, my finances, my work life, my personal life, my
Yeah,
spiritual life, to have those systems in place so that I'm working more effectively and not necessarily more efficiently, but more effectively and productively to get incrementally better every day and just take all positive steps forward. Because you're going to take some negative steps backwards, but if you take 40 steps backwards and have 5 bad days, you're still 35 steps further along than you would have
yeah,
been.
exactly. No, for sure. So one thing that I was learning, even in this morning, I had a devotion with one of my buddies, and they were talking. I mean, it was in First Thessalonians 5, and so it's First Thessalonians 5, verses 16 through 19. So it's like rejoice evermore, pray without ceasing, in everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus concerning you. Quench not the spirit. And so one thing that I wanted to ask you is like when you're lifting, right? Because I know it's going to translate into faith. The Bible says to quench not the spirit, meaning don't do things that's going to like run down your spirit, or it's kind of like fire, put the fire out. And so obviously you've lifted consistently for like 15, 20 years. You've taken a total of 5 to 6 weeks out. you know People could probably tell you things about the gym, and whether they're true or not, I mean, you're going to have your own thoughts on it, and you kind of know the truth because you're so delved in that world as far as like fitness goes. But how do you not let your spirit, when it comes to the lift, how do you keep it going? How do you you know just keep adding to it, because you're not slowing down from what it looks like. I mean, it looks like you're staying consistent. You're giving motivational stuff online. You're telling people, hey, whether even if it's snowing outside, okay, you still got to lift today. And it's cool because I look at those things, then I kind of understand the parallel to that. It's like hey, like whatever you're going through today spiritually, like it doesn't matter. Like you still have to show up for the Lord. It doesn't matter what's going on. The Lord is still here. And so I always like to ask people who are doing really well in a certain industry. For you, I respect the heck out of you. Now that you're in law enforcement, I even respect you even more because that's one of the hardest jobs in the world. But it seems like you like those kind of things, you know what I'm saying, where you like the challenge, you like something that's going to stretch you a little bit. But in the gym, like how do you keep that fire going? Like, how do you wake up when maybe your body doesn't want to? Or how do you, when you look at your workouts, I mean, like how do you keep going when it comes to the lift?
I think there's two quotes that could probably give me a good frame of reference, and I'm not going to sit here and say like I live out these quotes every minute, every second, every moment
Yeah.
of the day. I can't even say I live out these quotes every week or every month, but like I'm trying to get better. But they kind of set the precedent for like the question at hand, and one of them is, if it matters enough to you, you'll make it happen,
Yeah. That's
or
good.
you'll make a way. And I
Yeah.
mean that's reigned true in my own life, whether it comes to finances. If I really wanted, there was a time I really wanted a specific car, and I made it happen. There was a time where I really wanted to get debt free. I think back in 2018, I got completely debt free, and I took the necessary steps and made it happen.
Yeah.
And just like the gym, obviously, like I said in the video, if you're driving a Toyota Corolla and there's snow and ice on the ground, you're gonna be limited in your access to be able to get somewhere. But it's like, do you have a friend or somebody at the gym that is going, that has a truck that maybe you can throw them $20 or $30 or like what is that day in the gym worth for you to be able to get there if you really want to get there?
That's
So,
good. That's really good.
what when you really, and, and that even goes into your personal relationships, if it's your brother, or but more importantly, like I know you're big into like marriage and keeping that fire burning. Like if you if you really want to make your spouse feel seen, or if you really
Yeah.
want to make your spouse feel appreciated or wanted, like you will do that, even, and that isn't to say that you disrespect yourself or shrink yourself, to a certain place to take away from yourself to, give to them. But if you really want to do those things, you absolutely will. And then another one is, I can't remember who I originally heard it from. I heard it years ago, but a buddy of mine said it when I started working for him a few years ago, is how you do anything is how you'll do everything. And
Yeah. That's good.
we like to lie to ourselves and say, you know, I'm doing a great job being a dad, so that means I'm going to do a great job being a husband and running my business or getting all my work done or getting to the gym or showing up for other people. For most of us going on a day-to-day basis, is absolutely not true because when we're supposed to make up the bed in the morning and we don't, if you think you're that one day of skipping out, like you skipping out on making up the bed that morning, is going to trickle into some other point of your life of something you're trying to be intentional on, and you're going to have a shortcoming there. So
Yeah.
the more engaged you are to doing everything at the same on the same standard or the same excellence or the same consistency is going to help out everything else in life. So if you are being a great dad or a great husband, give that same energy in other places in your life, and you'll see those places grow and flourish and be more fruitful.
Yeah. No, that's really good, man. Yeah, the one thing that you said that kind of is polarizing or it stands out is what's the one day that you're going to miss going to cost you. That's a big deal because you can look at it from a physical standpoint, just be like I'm tired, but if you look at it from a financial standpoint or like a cost analysis standpoint, people will change if it's going to cost them something.
Yeah,
You know, if it's going to like put them in the negative, that does shift people. And it's a really good thought as far as if I don't do X, Y, and Z today, what's it going to cost me? I get what I gain. I gain whatever, whether it's rest or whatever I think I need. But is that more than what it's actually going to cost me? That's really good, man. No, that's good. And
yeah.
just
I
taking it
have
to the
another
word.
quick story on that.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
because I have a guy I used to coach with that is in the construction business. He has his own construction business, and I'll never forget. We were in Oklahoma. I think it was like a 5 day tournament, 4 or 5 day tournament for softball. Coaching our daughter's softball teams. They were 16 at the time, or 15 and 16, and the girls were playing fine, but how the games were being officiated and how the tournament was being run was not the best at the time. And in his mind, he felt like he was having a poor experience, and I understood it because I'll never forget. I think it was the third day, so I think we got rained out, and then like they were having a tough time like getting the schedule back up and getting us back on track, and we were going to have to play like at 10 o'clock at night or something like that. And I remember
Yeah,
him saying like, dude, like I'm missing out on 2 days worth of work going through this poor experience here. And I don't know how
yeah,
much he makes, and I don't care how much other guys make on a
yeah,
personal level. But he did throw out. He was like, man, this was a job I was going to profit $3,000 on personally, and the job on Wednesday I was going to profit like $4,000 on. I was like, yeah,
yeah.
I probably will be a little bit. If I was volunteering at my daughter's softball game and these idiots were having a hard time figuring out how to get the schedule back, and it just cost me 7 grand, I'd probably be pretty upset
Well,
myself.
and he had I'm sure he had to pay for a hotel and food and gas. I mean, it's
Yeah,
7,000 plus the actual cost, which
yeah,
is like even
exactly.
worse. Yeah. No, that's good, man. Yeah, guys like him, they look at time, like because
Yeah,
like I've been in the construction world, and it's like it's not only like money, but like you're like it's also costing me time that it's taking me away from X, Y, or Z. And no, that's good, man. No, that's really really good. And taking it to the word is what does it cost you if you don't wake up and pray the Lord out the gate? You know what I'm saying? What does it cost you when you don't kind of run the parameters of what God wants you to do as far as a few verses before that, you take it to like First Thessalonians 5 verses 12, and we beseech you, brethren, to know them which labor among you and are over you in the Lord, and admonish you, and to esteem the very highly in love for their work's sake, and be at peace amongst yourselves. And it's like Paul uses the word labor, so we're working towards the Lord. It's actual work. And then it says, and to esteem the very highly in love for their work's sake. So it's like not only are you going to labor, but you're going to enjoy laboring for the Lord. And there have been times where I might not have wanted to do that. For just like I wake up and I'm like, man, I don't want to lift today, or I don't want to go to the gym today. I just don't feel like it. But it's like kind of what you're saying. It's like when you have that thought process hit you, it's gonna cost you something, and it's gonna put you in the negative. You know, just like that guy, it cost him 7 grand plus whatever it costs to actually do the thing, and it, you know, that's quenching the spirit, man. It's like it's just putting a big old bucket of water on your fire, and then it's like now you got to work even harder to get back to where you were, and then you just got to continue the work to get to where you're going. You know, and so I don't know, man. I respect your mindset. I respect your discipline, and it's like you can come across people that are disciplined in a certain thing, and it's like, you know, ask those guys why they're good at what they do. Figure out the roadmap to how they got there, and then apply some of those really good qualities. Like you don't have to do everything that they do, but like apply some of the ones that you think you can manage into your life, and just watch your life get a lot better. You know, and that's why I think it's important to be around people that are like, you know, prone to business, people that are prone to health and lifestyle, and then surround yourself with people that are like doing well and like spiritual, because it's like those are the kind of three avenues for men where like men kind of want to do well in, you know, physical, financial, and spiritual. But it's like surround yourself with people that are doing well, and then kind of take what they're doing good, and then, you know, apply it to your life, and just watch your life do well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You know, something I just thought about, because I know I mentioned earlier that I don't I don't I don't make an intention to surround myself around like-minded or like-spirited people necessarily, but it happens to me organically anyways because
Yeah,
of the gym and what I do for a living. Because I've had so many clients, male and female. But even we just take, I've had way more female, and that's just kind of how the business works. But I've had way more females than males. But even a lot of the males I've had, man, dude, I've had clients that their net worth, these are things that I've seen,
yeah,
like their net worth starts in the nines. I've had clients that net worth starts in the eights and in the sevens and in the sixes, and all of them are different personality wise, but I mean, there's a lot of common threads that go with
yeah,
guys that have reached that certain level of success. And I think a common thread for a lot of guys is like, you know, I think for a lot of guys, you know, they want to find peace in life. And it's like,
yeah,
how do you, what brings you peace? You know, some guys, you know, being a workaholic, like being completely immersed in their work 24/7, 365 is what brings them peace, because when they're sitting with their self, which is a problem to its own, but when they're sitting with their self or sitting with their family, it actually causes them more stress and tension and anxiety. But you know, a
yeah,
lot of guys, you know, look for peace ultimately in their life, and finding that is how they got to be, you know, where they are.
yeah,
And so, you know, I think that's where I've been fortunate to have a unique brotherhood, is like in my clientele, or just guys I've met in the gym who've, you know, asked
yeah,
me questions, you know, or I've helped in a smaller capacity for, you know, 3 or 4 months and maybe not a couple of years. Is that, man, you get to know these guys on a more personal level, and then maybe even an intimate level, and these are the guys that are impressing upon you, and helping out and influencing you, and you're hoping you're doing the same in a positive manner.
yeah. And one of the things with, you know, me and my buddy do our morning devotion, and you know where I'm gonna post this is the YouTube channel called the Yoke Fellas, and Yoke Fellas basically, it's like if you can think about like two cows pulling a plow, but
Hmm.
they're pulling a load, and you know there's two of them, so it's like one cow's helping the other kind of thing. And so then I just like change the word fellow to fellas. But you know, like as guys, I mean, it's so nice, and a lot of guys don't utilize this, and it's something that I'm trying to change, because I feel like a lot of times guys can kind of like stay to themselves, and they can kind of like gatekeep to an extent where, hey, I'm doing well, but I'm not trying to like, waste my time teaching other people stuff. But what I've realized is like when guys have like, you know, I call it, I try to be funny and I say like, oh, it's my wolf pack, or whatever you want to call it. But when guys have like a group of guys where they're trying to like better themselves, and it's one thing that I'm doing right now that I'm out of the construction business and I'm navigating towards coaching. Like I thoroughly enjoy having guys that I can reach out to, that I can speak life into, but they can also speak life into me. I can run ideas off of. I can see where they're at progressively, and be like, hey man, like, you know, last month you were doing this, where you at this month? And guys need that, man. I mean, when I played sports, that was one thing that you always had your coach on your butt. Like you
Yeah.
had somebody that was expecting you to grow and to get better. And I think when we're of a certain age, that kind of goes away, and then you're just kind of left to your own self. And even like the guy you were saying that, like, hey, he might be really good in business, but his home life is a wreck. That's a discrepancy. That guy clearly is capable of great things. I mean, he's creating a big company, but like, you're telling me that you can generate a $9 million business, but you can't talk to your wife. And so you can just kind of like hold on to that yourself, and just that's just the way it is. Or you can kind of go to somebody who's doing well in their whatever their marriage life or whatever you want to call it, and you can be like, hey man, like I noticed that like you've got really good patience with your wife, or hey, it seems like you're walking around and like your family's pretty relaxed around you, or hey, I've noticed your wife looks at you with respect, or whatever you want to call it. Like dude, like I'm missing it. I'm missing the point. Like I don't. That's not my life. Like how do you do that? And it's weird how guys can just kind of prone themselves to kind of be standoffish. But bro, when guys are helping other guys, just like in the gym, man, having a spotter in your life, it's so good, bro. And the whole thing with my YouTube channel is it's like guys helping other guys and iron sharpening iron. And that's where guys just navigate the best to. I mean, at the end of the day, like, the Bloods and the Crip gangs, they're not good gangs, but the whole premise is to have a brotherhood of guys that are surrounded you, that love you and care about you. And it's like the core of gangs is not actually a bad idea. I mean, what they do is obviously bad, but what I'm saying though is
Yeah.
like the core premise is having closeness with a bunch of brothers to where no matter what, even unto death, like no matter what, we're gonna band together and we're gonna figure this thing out. And that's why the military is so strong. That's why like the disciples in the Bible, like the discipleship and being under the Lord and having like that 12 man group, like they were like super solidified. You know what I'm saying? And it's I want to normalize guys reading the Bible together. I want to normalize guys running their ideas off of each other and kind of helping people navigate some of the tougher things in life, because life is tough, man. Talking to your wife is tough. Being a parent is tough. Running a business is tough. Showing up to the gym 3 to 5 days a week is tough. But it's not as tough if you have guys kind of holding you accountable and having guys that generally care about your well-being and your welfare. It's a little bit less tough when you have that surrounding you. You know what I'm saying? And my whole thing is just like, man, I want to have a network of guys to where like, hey, I can tell them things and they're holding me accountable. But I also, if they ask me for things, I can help them, and just have this community where like we're getting better together. And it's like such an exciting life, man, when you have that. It's not exciting when you're battling all these problems on your own, and you're
Yeah.
left to your. It's like you're left to your mind. There's a guy named Tony Robbins that said, when you're left in your head, you're dead.
Yeah.
And it's like you can get stuck in that mindset where it's, man, you're just focused on your problems 24/7. And that's why I was telling you, like early in the podcast, I was, how do you show up every day, you know? And it's just because you said you're gonna do what you love because it's what you love and you want to be good at it. But it's like, I don't know, man. It's like, I wanted to reach out to you because like I know that you're good in that sphere, and you've created some really good roadmaps, and you've got some legit neural links in your mind towards like, hey, this is important in my life, and I'm going to do it no matter what, whether it's rain, sleet, or snow, or however that phrase goes. But yeah, man, and it's just like in Thessalonians, it says, quench not the spirit, let that fire keep going. And I know that fire gets bigger when you have your brothers around you, kind of like motivating you and pushing you, and just like having a spotter, bro. You're on that last rep and you're in pain and you have zero energy, but he's yelling at you, being press, or, push, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That's what guys need in their life. They need someone saying, push that thing, bro. And they might just tap it. It's just a little tap, but you're doing it. They're just tapping it up, and then boom, and all of a sudden you got a little bit stronger because you had a little bit of help from your bro. You know what I'm saying, or from your buddy, or whatever you want to call it. So I don't know, man. I just know that men's mental health right now, especially with social media and some of these younger generations, like the 18 to 25-year-olds. I mean, it's at an all-time low. And now that I'm not 24/7 working in my construction company and doing that, I do feel like the Lord's called me to help men in a way to kind of navigate their lives in a better way, but to also be a support to guys. And it's been fulfilling, man. I've really enjoyed it, man. And that's why when I reached out to you, I mean, we had a great conversation and we caught up a little bit. And I know you're really good in a lot of areas in your life. And it's like, how can we put some of those things on paper and talk to people about it and like kind of motivate, men to just be better men? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh, yeah, 100%.
You said you had a verse. What verse were you gonna pick out?
Mine is Timothy chapter 1 verse 7.
Oh,
For
nice.
God
First
has not,
Timothy. Yeah.
yeah, for
Okay.
God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-discipline.
Nice, dude. That's a good one.
And for me, oh, go ahead, go ahead.
What verse is that? First Timothy. First Timothy 1. What?
1:7.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. No, that's really really good, man. Can we dive into that a little bit? Can we dissect
Yeah,
that a
yeah,
little
yeah,
bit?
for sure.
Say the verse
I mean,
again.
for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-discipline.
Okay. Here we go.
And for
Okay.
me,
Second Timothy. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Second Timothy one
sorry.
7. Oh, you're good. No, you're good. Let me turn there real quick. Second Timothy. I probably should know that, but yeah. All right. Second Timothy. All right. Yeah. So for God hath not given us a spirit of fear, but power, love, and sound mind. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah. Delve into that, man. Tell me.
So for me, I don't. I mean, there's things in the Bible that are masculine and feminine, but however you interpret this, for me personally, I've thought about. There's a lot of things I don't organically don't fear, and the only thing we should, the only thing we truly should fear is fear of God. But obviously, we have carnal fears that we have, where the maybe
Yeah.
scared of lightning or spiders or crossing the road, without help or whatever they may be. But for me, man, I've lived a lot of internal fear, and I've projected out, things maybe not sometimes like audibly, sometimes in my body language, but
Yeah.
a lot of it's been internalized, and it's been very damaging in my personal life, whether that be
Yeah.
relationally or in goals I'm trying to strive for personally. And
Yeah.
so that verse is actually in a script. So I have like 7, 8 verses that I read every morning out loud that is separate from
That's good.
devotional and Bible study, because these are directed specifically towards targeting, two areas
Yeah.
that I've really struggled in my personal life. And so not living in a spirit of fear, but knowing that God has given us the power to love and self discipline to carry out anything that we're trying to do. And that doesn't mean you're going to accomplish everything that you set out to do, but you shouldn't be feared. For one, you shouldn't be in fear for trying. Again, you even go back to
No.
the gym thing. I know a lot of people who, whether they are conscious of it or not conscious of it, or whether they realize it or won't realize it, they they have a fear of going to the gym because they have a fear of how people are going to perceive them, because they're having to
Yeah.
start at scratch or zero. So they're like,
Yeah.
man, there's going to be all these fit people there with abs, guys grunting and moaning and squatting 500
Yeah.
pounds, these skinny, lean women who are super fit and only eat chicken and rice every day, and they're like, I can't, I'm not going to be like at those people level, so I'm not even going to show up. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's not, you're missing the whole thing. It's like all of us started somewhere at some point at ground zero. For some of us, it was
100%.
as a teenager, as a 20-year old, 30-year-old. But I've had clients that when they started with me, they hadn't worked out since PE in high school, and they're in their 50s or 60s. So they're basically very deconditioned and very out of shape. And it was rough for them their first month because we weren't really able to do a whole lot. It was a lot more mobility and engagement work than actual lifting and getting to the place they were actually
Yeah.
want to get. And I'm like, if we start trying to push you to lose the 40 pounds that you want to lose, you're going to get hurt, and then you're going to be worse off than when you started. So, and again, that trickles into, I know a lot of guys that want to try to start a business, and they're in preparation mode the whole time. They're researching and prepping and laying roadmaps, and it's like, dude, you just got to get started. And the reason they're not getting started is because they're in the fear that, what if this business fails? how
Yeah.
will that look? How will that impact me? How will that impact my family?
Yeah.
And so you can't operate out of a place of fear. You have to operate out of a place of power and love. And the self discipline is what keeps you going through that, to see that go through. Again, whether you accomplish or fail, you're going to learn and grow and be fruitful in that process no matter what, as long as those three things are the pillar of what you're doing on a daily basis.
Yeah. In my coaching, I was reading this book, and dude, it's a great book. It's called Mindsets by Carol Dweck, and it's literally changed my life. Like legit. Like it's literally, I was 1,000% raised in a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. So what the book says is that it says people aren't actually afraid of doing X, Y, or Z. For example, take that woman that you said, or that guy in the gym, and they're afraid to go to the gym. They wouldn't care about going to the gym if there was nobody there, right? It's not the actual going to the gym that's scary. What's scary is, and it's a fear thing, what people actually fear is failing in front of people. That's the scary part. They don't want to fail in front of people. Whereas if you have a growth mindset and you're not worried about the validation or what you're getting perceived, whatever energy that you're getting from the world, but you're more focused on your personal growth, you can actually be happy that you're at XYZ starting point and be like, hey, in 1 month, I started off here, but in a month, I got, 8 pounds stronger on my bench, or I put on 20 pounds on my squat. And you keep having that growth mindset, and you keep thinking to yourself, oh, hey, I'm going to get a little better, a little better, a little better. And the other side of that fear side is like, if you have a fixed mindset, you're afraid to put out there what you're dealing with or what you're struggling with because you're afraid, again, right, of what people or the persona of what people are going to view you as. Whereas, hey, if you just flat out say, hey, listen, you know, I'm a killer in business, bro. I'm a sales monster. I'll go out there and close every single deal. But you know what? You know what the one deal I always fail is like talking to my wife. Like that sale, I just bomb every single day. And so what you do is when you say whatever you're dealing with out loud, you're taking the power from that circumstance. You're putting it out there. So now it's no longer in the dark. Now people know about it. And so guess what? Whether you go to a coach to need it for assistance or whoever you end up going to for help, because it's not bad to go out there for help, right? Guys come to you all the time because they want to get stronger. Women come to you all the time because they want to get physically in shape. You're not going to look at them and be like, Susie, like you need my help? Like, what's wrong with you? Why can't you do this? Like, no, you're excited to help that person. You're like, yeah, for sure, Susie. We're gonna get those gains going. You're gonna get jacked, and it's gonna be fun. The whole process is gonna be fun. But you take that persona, that fear of whatever you're dealing with, you put it out there, and you share stuff to people. You're taking it out of your mind, and you're putting it out into the world. Now you're telling somebody about it, and then now that person can help you work on that thing. And so when you have the growth mindset, bro, it's like you can like the only failure in growth mindset is quitting because you're constantly growing. That's the only, but with the fixed mindset, failure is, hey, this didn't happen. So then the fixed mindset goes, hey, I'm not very smart. Hey, I'm dumb or I'm stupid. Hey, I'm a loser. And so, like, you have the fixed mindset where you take on this identity of failure, or you can take on the growth mindset where it's like, no, the only failure is quitting. Success is getting a little bit better day by day. And then taking your problem, putting it out there and not being ashamed of it and just being like, hey, I do struggle with this. But guess what? Just like in bench, or like, I'll give you a personal example. I hate front squats. I really do. I hate it with a passion. Like, I hate front squats. And so my coach put it on I have this like workout thing that I do 3 or 4 times a week. And and front squat came up and I'm like, dude, I'm like, bro, do I have to really do that? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I hate front squat. I just don't enjoy it. I've never been flexible. My hand doesn't go like up here, whatever. So then he gave me some of these like straps that I can use, like help me a little bit. But yeah, so okay, I can't go all the way back, but he gave me these straps. Dude, 6 weeks later, I'm front squatting like a champ. And I'm not afraid of it, but I wasn't afraid to be like, hey, I hate this. I don't like front squats. I've never been good at front squats. I'm a pitcher only. I'm the guy that just threw hard. I'm not a real athlete. I just like threw kind of hard, you know what I'm saying? But like, no, he was like, no, dude, like we're good. Like we'll give you something to kind of transition into it. I'll show you the technique. And now I'm front squatting like a champ. And it's because I was okay with telling him my issue he looked at my issue like it wasn't a big deal. He gave me a roadmap, or he helped me navigate X, Y, and Z. And now I'm confident in front squats. But it's like we can do that with every circumstance in our life. And as long as you have somebody in your life that's willing to help you, which most of us have people in our life that are willing to help us. Like it's we think there's people out there that don't care, but there are people in our life that care. You know what I'm saying? So it's like have courage, figure out what you struggle with, tell somebody about it, and then create a plan to kind of navigate that and to do a better job. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like I hate when guys are, hey, I'm good at this, but I'm not good at this. I'm like, bro, you can be good at all of it. You might not be a pro, but you can get a little bit better in every area of life. You can get a little bit better, whether that's having patience for your kids, right? Whether it's talking to your wife with a better tone, whether that's making sure that your house is clean, or hey, going to the doctor when I'm supposed to, or get my checkups or whatever you want to call it. Like whatever. I know people that don't go to the doctor because they're afraid of what the doctor's going to say, or there are people that can't start cleaning up their house because it's so messy and they don't even know how, like at what point do I even start? I don't even know where to start because the house is a wreck. But it's like no, you just start. You just gotta start and get a little bit better, bro. Like any aspect of our life, bro. It's we can pause ourselves and have like this self sabotage mindset where it's like I don't want to do it because of whether it's fear or whatever you want to call it, but it's like, no, man, tell somebody about it. As a man, tell somebody about it, create a plan, and just get a little bit better day by day. And I promise you, if you just get a little bit better, I think you put a comment like 1% better every single day. And it's like, yeah, get a little bit better every single day. And before you know it, 1 or 2 years goes by, and like you're not that guy that you once were. You're actually a lot better. And that's life, dude. That's what God talks about, having that abundant life, putting trust, kind of what you're saying. And it's like God didn't give us that fear. You know what I'm saying? He didn't give us the spirit of fear. Like Paul, right? Which is why I love Paul, dude. That joker called himself the chief of sinners. He told everybody that he was a sinner, that he struggled with sin, right? But that didn't stop him from writing 2/3 of the New Testament. You know what I'm saying? Because he knew who God was. He knew who God created him to be. He knew that Christ died for his sins. You know what I'm saying? And we can have that. He didn't give us that spirit of fear. That's from our flesh. That's from the world. That's what we think the world puts on us. But no, God didn't give you that. But he gave you power, right? So he gave you the ability to overcome it. And then he gives you love. He gives you the joy and the compassion and the good stuff to get through what you're getting through. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I don't know, man, and a sound mind, bro. Like what you're saying, like peace. He gives us peace, dude. It's like, God is so good, bro. He really is, man. He gives us everything that we need. All his parameters are perfect. And we just have to like not be afraid. We can't be afraid. We gotta have faith in him. And I don't know, man. It's good.
Yeah,
But
man, I 100% agree with everything you're saying and where all of this is going because like again, on a personal side for me, I really thankfully I grew up knowing there's strength there's power in the tongue and like what comes out of your mouth. For me,
yeah.
that's more meant like I try to speak empowerment or encouragement, and I try to speak with kindness and softness to people, and be intentional what I'm saying, like not discourage anybody from anything that they're doing. Definitely don't rain on anybody's parade. But I've also realized like there's power in the tongue of like what you say out loud to yourself has just as much power as it does on anybody else. It's probably not more. And so, again, like kind of like you're saying, just like any other man, like I know I'm good at building people, and I know like something I've always said, like I'm not Bob the Builder. I don't have like the engineering capacity to like I suck at building like desks and
IKEA
putting
furniture.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like, and I hate doing it. Part of that is like kind of like a learning disability thing, like a focusing with, I had attention deficit in school and I was able to maneuver
Yeah, yeah. I
without
hate
having to take
directions.
medicine, thankfully.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
like, I look at I remember I had an entertainment stand like a year and a half ago when we moved to a new house, and it was my entertainment stand, and I'd rather just pay somebody $100 to put it together. But my wife was like, "We're not. If you spend $50 to $100 on every piece of furniture in here, we're going to be out a lot of money. Just build it yourself." So I had to just sit
Yeah.
there in that room, and what would take probably a normal
Uh,
guy,
that's
an
so funny,
hour and a
dude.
half takes me
No.
5 hours. But then
Yeah.
I started getting to the point. I've really been at this point for like the last 3 weeks of like, what are some things I'm not good at, or like public speaking. I'm very introverted, so I'm not a very like overly social person, whether that be to males or females. I know how to effectively communicate, but that doesn't get comfortable with me until that ice has already been broken. But I'm not good at breaking the
Yeah.
ice. And then it's like, again, I'm not good at putting physical things together. And so like I've been reaching out to people. Like I've reached out to a guy who I used to work with, who's like a fourth degree black belt, and he's like literally like a ninja. Like he does these, he has like he's like a master of like 20 different weapons, and he's been in commercials, and he wants to become a stunt man, so he can do all the backflips and stuff. So I'm like, dude, like I'm going into the police academy, and I want to be better at hand to hand combat. Like, do you have an hour a week that you can train me, for the next 10 weeks to be able to prepare me for that?
Yeah.
Because I'd rather be overly prepared to be able to handle a situation. Hopefully, it doesn't get physical. I can de-escalate it, psychologically. But in case, there's a reality where there is a certain physicality to altercations that you're going to run into, and oftentimes the officers that get hurt or put other people in danger are the ones who aren't prepared to handle those physical altercations. And I've reached out to, two to three other people who I know have been doing something for a long time, where they're expert or master at a specific craft, and I'm reaching out to them to start investing time to building those crafts, even though they have nothing to do. And I'm picking a lot of things that have nothing to do with either one of my careers or passions that I'm in, law enforcement or
Yeah.
health and wellness, personal training, just because I want to learn and grow in other places in life. Because you never know where the skill might come into. But if this skill comes up one time in life, 15 years from now, I will have been prepared versus having to rely on somebody else to have to do it. But I just think it'll build a certain kind of personal confidence that'll also trigger, but really more it's like the courage side of it. Again, going
Yeah.
back to the fear thing, it's like if I can build enough courage to try new things that I suck at, and I'm starting at ground zero, what will that courage and power give to me in things I'm already good or great at to grow and make those things more fruitful as well?
That's good, man. No, that's really good, man. And yeah, that's good, bro. Yeah, it's just, just doing things that you don't want to do, and they could be totally like good for you, but it's like,
Hmm.
just having the courage to understand, like, hey, those things are good. But that's good, man. No, I appreciate it. I mean, dude, this was a really good talk, bro. I definitely want to do it again.
Yeah.
And but yeah, bro, I don't know, man. I'm in this phase of my life where I just enjoy having deeper relationship with my friends, and I want to push my friends to better themselves. I really do, man. I have this. I don't know what it is, bro, but like, there's just something in me that enjoys seeing guys prosper. You know, and not only prosper, bro, but just get closer to the Lord. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because it's like it talks about having power and love, and it's in a sound mind, dude. I don't think there's anything better than those three. I mean, I don't think there's anything better than being powerful, to have a bunch of love in your heart, and to have like the most solid mind you can think of. I don't think there's.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything better than that, dude. I really, and it all comes from God,
Yeah.
and I don't know, man. I'm just like you've been in this coaching world, bro. I'm just all about just pushing my brothers to just to be who God created them to be, bro. But like, just kind of like what you do in the training world, and or just being a spotter for a guy. All of us are in this spot where we're just stuck, and we don't have the strength or the energy to kind of just get that little bit of just umph into that last low rep. But you get somebody next to you that can kind of just tap it up, and you press it, and you're like, man, that was really like I got real deep there, and it was hurting a little bit, but I pressed it, I pushed it up, and that's real life, man. And sometimes that's all a guy needs is just that little tap of pushing the bar up, and it's not. I didn't lift it like you did, but like I just had to tap it a little bit, man. And I don't know, man. It's awesome, bro. And I appreciate this, dude. And I don't know, we can set up something where it's routine or we check in periodically. But yeah, man, because I respect the heck out of you, Brian. I mean, I really do. I think you're you've been a. I mean, I know like people in Tennessee know you for your skill set stuff, but you've always been a good athlete. Like you've always been
Yeah.
strong. You know what I'm saying? You've always had a tenacious mindset. Like when you were at Edgewater and you were like come up to the plate, like I don't think there was anybody on that team that I was nervous about, but you know, big old because you were a lefty, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, you roll up to the plate, and I knew you from since middle school, and like I ain't letting this dude get nothing on me. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, I was like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
try really hard right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a little bit harder every pitch. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
and I think the ball you just yoked one on me was a changeup, which that was not my best pitch, and I was always mad at my friend Bobby for calling that. 'Cause if I'm only throwing Bryan fastballs and curveballs, I'm not throwing him. But he called a changeup, and I'm like, whatever, man. And then you just yoke that thing, and I didn't even look at you. I didn't even look at you. I was like, I know that. There's some times when you're a pitcher where the dude just hits it and you don't even look. You know it's gone. And it was one of those things where like the whole stands are like just like scratching their head like that
Yeah.
thing just went far.
Yeah.
And then my dad, I get home and he was like, he's like, don't take this the wrong way, son, but I think that's the farthest ball anybody's ever hit on you. And I'm like, I know, I know. It's just funny, bro. It was funny. I
Yeah.
mean, even like
My
Rashid and all
dad.
those guys were like, that's Brian, that's Brian. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. My dad. That's one of two home runs, which actually means a lot to me. My dad actually didn't. My biological father didn't come to a lot of my games until I was 12, 13 years old. But I don't. There's not many games he missed through high school and college, thankfully. And but that is one of three home runs he still talks about to this day. If he's telling the story to somebody, is that home run off that kid from because you were at Ocoee, right?
yeah,
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 he's
yeah,
like
yeah,
that home run that
yeah,
Brian hit off that kid from McCoy over the science building. He was like that.
yeah, dude. I think you
That's,
hit it
that's
over the
one of
building. Yeah, it was
yeah,
crazy, dude. It was, and I think the actual score was like 3-2, so it wasn't even a high scoring game. I was doing a good job, like
yeah,
I
yeah,
was shutting you guys
yeah,
down, but we didn't score, and I was so mad. I'm like, it would go three up, three down. I just got done pitching like 65 pitches. I gotta go back out right. Like do get a
yeah.
walk or something. Like walk or like take some pitches. Make this guy work, But I don't know. It's funny.
And I think what because I'm again like I was so competitive back then, and it's like it's honestly it's hard for me to be as I've gotten older. I think I've gotten a lot softer, and I think it's done more detriment than anything because it's like man like having that like I would be so competitive like when I wouldn't care if we I wouldn't care if we lost and I had a good game. I wasn't one of those athletes. I cared just a loss was a loss for me, whether I had a good game or not. My individual
Yeah.
performance didn't matter. And so I remember games all the way through high school where I was so mad. We'd play a tournament in Miami and lose in the semifinals, and I wouldn't talk to my parents for the whole trip home. I wouldn't eat. I wouldn't talk to them. Yeah, I would just sit in the back seat and sulk the whole time because I was just so mad that we lost. And as I've gotten older, in my late 20s and 30s, I think I've lost a lot of that tenacity, and I think it's been to my detriment because like having that level of passion and tenacity is how we're wired, especially it's how
Yeah.
I'm wired in like I think I'm meant to be. And I think me trying to like be softer, especially around people and be less of myself has kind of hurt me, you know, in the long run. And that's something I'm trying to work back to like trying to find a healthy level of aggressiveness for life in general.
Yeah.
But you said something, and I was actually meaning to respond to that before I got in a rant. What was it?
No, you're good.
Can't even remember now.
Well,
Anywho,
I'll say this about Rashid, right? And Rashad. The next Monday, we're like in that like at the center field stretching, before like Monday practice, whatever you call it. And Rashid came up to me and he's like, "Hey, Ralph," he's like, "I think that ball's still flying that Brian hit off you." And I'm
yeah,
like, "It's too soon, bro." Good. I don't know. It was just funny because they knew you, and
Yeah.
I didn't. Obviously, I knew you from school, so like they thought it was surprising that I knew you, and I'm like, yeah, I know Brian, and and so they would rub it in a little bit. It was just funny, and I'm like,
No, so
like
I remember what it is now. I think it was I was so competitive, but I kind of had like a little bit of like that Jordan in me is like I'm always competitive. I'm always on. But if you upset me even more than I already am, is like I amp it up. And I don't know if you remember
yeah,
this, but I don't remember if it was that at bat. I think it might have been at bat before. But you tried to quick pitch me where you were in stretch, and instead of coming set, you just like went straight from the first position and tried to pitch, and the umpire called like a no pitch, and I was like, what is this dude trying to do? Like, and even though I got the ball call, I was
yeah,
like, he's trying to get one over on me, and I think that like woke up the bear even more to whenever
yeah,
you did
dude.
throw the next.
Well, what was I was so annoyed with you about was that you would crowd the plate.
Yeah,
And I too was very competitive. And so I'm the guy that's like, if you're going to crowd the plate, I'm going to bust you inside all day. I'm going to throw my hardest fastball. And I know my corners. I know, I don't care if you're like an inch off the plate. Like I'll hit my friend Bobby's, my catcher. I'll hit his glove. Like I don't care.
yeah,
And you would crowd the plate, dude. And I don't know, man. It was just like, you were just like, you were about it. You know what I'm saying? And I was
yeah.
just like, I don't know. We were definitely like, you know, uh, like I don't know, man. My dad has some photos of me like pitching in his house, and like the look on my face of how serious I was. I'm like, I don't even know who that
Yeah,
guy is. Like,
yeah,
I don't know who
yeah,
that serious 18-year-old or 17-year-old kid is. Like, that guy is like
yeah,
another lifetime ago. Because I was
yeah,
so. I mean, there's a picture of me like throwing, and I'm like, I have like this like angry but like focused look, and I'm just, I don't have that. I'm not that laser focused anymore. It's hilarious.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not either, man. It's funny. I was looking through pictures yesterday, and there's a picture from when like we won an AAU national championship when I was on Chet Lemons Juice when we were 17, and
Yeah.
we're taking. I made all tournament team, so there's like pictures of me, and some of them are still on social media that where like I have my all tournament trophy, and then I have like our gold medal from winning nationals, and I'm like I have this stone cold like almost like I'm about to kill somebody. Like somebody stole $30 from me. I'm about to go kill him, and I was like, man, I like even though
Yeah.
like I'm a serious guy kind of now, but I was like, man, like I was so like you said, laser all the way through college. Like dude, like people go out and I had, I mean, I partied and I definitely lived a social life in college, but man, like I was up 6 a.m. like every day in college. Like, of course,
Yeah.
there were some days like I would sleep in on a Saturday morning or whatever. But dude, like, I remember doing sprints like after church on Sundays just to like be ready for the next week, or like I would go like 1 for 4 in a game, and I thought I should have got three more. I should have went 4 for 4, and like going to hit 100 balls off the tee, after like right after a game, like didn't even change uniforms, and again there's parts of me over the like especially since the pandemic where I'm like, dude, why like what would be wrong about me bringing that tenacity and focus back? Like what would my life look like going forward if I did live my life with that kind of laser focus and tenacity? Because
Yeah.
like who who am I who am I hurting by not living out what is naturally and organically inside of me? Because I know it's still down in there, but it's like,
Yeah.
dude, would my business be that much more successful if I was every time a client didn't meet their goal, I went and did a deep dive psychologically, like what went wrong, to be able to help out the next person that is psychologically going to go wrong instead of saying, well, they just didn't have it, or they're never going to get it. So, I'm just going to move on to the
Yeah.
next client.
Yeah. You can the way I would reframe that because like I'm doing that. I mean, I do feel like I have that tenacity, but I don't know if it's because I got like three little girls or my wife's. She corrects me a lot, but it's not wrong. Like I don't know if it would be like aggression is the word I would use. I think you could reframe it saying having passion. It's okay to
Yeah.
have passion. You know what I'm saying? Like take all the good things about your qualities of like your assertiveness and your and like how much you care. But I know like even with this right now, like I am having a good time talking to you, but like it's like whereas before I felt this was like almost like a duty or like some kind of whatever, but now I've reframed my mind to where I'm gonna have a good time. I'm gonna not let fear run my life, but I'm gonna be passionate about my conversations. I'm gonna have passion when I hang at my friends. And dude, life is so much better when you run things through passion versus like fear or duty or obligation. Even me showing up for my wife, it's I've started changing my thoughts process where I get to get as close to my wife as possible. I get a lifetime to learn about her, and I want to let passion kind of like be the fuel that like pushes me closer to her, versus I have to do this or hey, because I'm her husband, I'm obligated to do X, Y, and Z. Or hey, with my kids, right? I'm obligated. No, I get to do these things with my kids. I get to be the guy that they look up to and I teach to, and like it's just a different reframe, man. But no, I think your laser focus is a good thing, but maybe just run it through like passion because like I know passion is just what gets that fire going.
Yeah,
It's like the perfect fuel, man, for
yeah.
whatever you're doing. But this was good, bro. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna send you something to where we can do this again, dude. But that was good, bro. That was a really good verse, man. In Timothy 1:7. That's a really good one, bro. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna tell my dad. I'm like, yeah, I talked to Brian today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna tell
funny
my
how
dad too.
he forgets. Yeah, it's funny how like he forgets a lot, but like he doesn't forget Brian Hill, which is so funny. Like that's
That's
like
awesome, man.
ingrained in his mind. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Which is funny. Yeah.
Well,
So, all
man,
right, man. Well, have a good day, bro.
I appreciate you having me on, and I look forward to doing this again. I expect it at this point now.
Yeah, man. All right, Brian. Be safe out there, bro.
Yes, sir.